Enoch was excluded. But that brings us back to our central question. If the book was so problematic, why does it seem to echo in the New Testament, and maybe even in the words of Jesus himself? Let's start with the clearest link. The book of Jude. See, the Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to execute judgment on everyone. This is a near-perfect quote from 1 Enoch 1:9. So does that mean Jude thought Enoch was scripture? Not necessarily. Think of it like a modern pastor quoting a famous author to make a point. Paul did the same thing when he quoted pagan poets in Athens. Jude was using a source his audience would have known to support a biblical truth, that God's judgment is certain. Now for Jesus. Here, the connections are more subtle, but they're still worth exploring. Jesus never quotes Enoch directly, but he uses concepts and titles that were heavily developed in the book of Enoch. Take the title Jesus used for himself more than any other, the Son of Man. In Enoch's book of parables, the Son of Man is a pre-existing divine being who sits on a throne of glory and judges all of humanity. When Jesus speaks of the Son of Man coming in glory to judge the living and the dead, he's tapping into a powerful image that his audience would have likely recognized from popular Enochic literature. Another interesting parallel is in Matthew 25:41, where Jesus describes the final judgment. Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. This idea of a fire, specifically, prepared for fallen angels isn't explicitly laid out in the Old Testament, but it's a central theme in Enoch's story about the rebellious watchers being cast into an abyss of fire. Finally, consider Jesus' debate with the Sadducees in Matthew 22. They try to trick him with a question about marriage after the resurrection. They will be like the angels in heaven. This idea of angels not marrying is a key element in Enoch's narrative, but some scholars argue Jesus was providing new revelation here, not referencing Enoch. In fact, right after saying this, Jesus explicitly quotes the book of Exodus, asking, "Have you not read what was said to you by God? I am the God of Abraham." Jesus seems to draw a line between a familiar cultural idea, one that's also in Enoch, and what he calls the scriptures.